Welcome to Marvel Multiverse Mayhem, the premier Marvel podcast of LRMonline.com, Genreverse, and also the official Marvel podcast of said thing. Anyway, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded. So I'm Nick, and I'm here with Kyle, as always.
Hi, everyone, what's up?
To the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse universe. I don't know.
I don't know what to call it anymore either, but we'll just go with the Marvel multiverse. We'll just leave it at that, I guess. That's what we do here, cover that stuff, and just notice your image is a little out of size on my thing. You're good. Did we mention our sponsor, Nick? Grow Generation?
Yeah.
Oh man, they're awesome. Everyone should go check out Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. Yeah, do that and let them know the Genreverse Podcast Network sent you, and yeah, Nick, Spider-Man 2, man,
Spider-Man 2.1 technically.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Or now it's called the extended cut.
I don't even know what new. I guess I've seen it before, but I didn't really recognize anything new. So
I'll let you know which scenes are new, since I've seen the second one so many times. Okay. I'll list them all later.
Yeah,
because they're actually most of them feel like important scenes, and one of them has been posted online as a deleted scene. Everyone's like, why isn't that in the movie? And it's like, well, if you watch 2.1, you would actually have seen that scene in the movie.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. So let's start with the usual. Do you want to discuss the Morbius trailer briefly, or just skip it?
I mean, it's there. I'll say this. It looks as decent of a film as far as tone, setting, looks, and whatnot as the first trailer. But just like the first trailer, why? Well, I actually know a little bit of why, but we can't talk too much about that because it goes into the realm of where I would unfortunately be blurring the lines between rumors and like known leak. You know what I'm saying, Nick. So guys, just put it this way: Kevin Feige's name for producer on the Columbia Pictures Sony 2 movies in 2023. They're titled Sony Marvel Universe movie, and Feige's producing. These are joint movies between Marvel and Sony. So there you guys go. That's part of what's going on. So
I thought the other trailers were boring, but this one looked cool when it was showing off his powers. I think it looks a step up from even Venom 2 as far as Sony's CGI. It looks cool hard when he's flying in his powers. It actually looks cool, whereas like the symbiotes is like, yeah, it's pretty close to the comic.
Why do you keep saying it the wrong way on purpose? Like just a
symbiote?
Yeah, it's symbiote.
Symbiote, because
they
somewhere
said
along the line it changed in my head because that stupid trailer, which
but it was only
they fixed it for the movie.
Sony did all but admit that they were fucking stupid, and we had them say it multiple times. There's no cartoon with it being pronounced dozens of times. There's not hundreds of fans with it pronouncing across the internet, millions.
Not only
hundreds
that,
of fans.
but
they're
one
like,
of the Raimi movies,
Sony.
Their biggest opening weekend for a Spider-Man movie ever, except for the Marvel ones, is a movie there where they have symbiotes in them. Symbiotes? See, I don't remember, but whatever. That's not what we're here to talk about. I'll be mispronouncing that next week when we do Eternals and Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
We have a list. We have everything scheduled out through the end of the year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it looks all right. There's a lot of confusions as about to what universe is what and where, and I'll honestly say I don't even know if that question will be fully answered in No Way Home. I think you guys are going to have to wait until 2023 for more definitive, maybe Multiverse of Madness, but Sony's going to draw some more clear lines in 23, I believe.
Well, because I saw a cool like graphic thing where they were like, The Oscorp Tower looks like it's from Amazing Spider-Man. The newspaper is from the Venom universe. The picture of Tobey Maguire on the wall. I mean, the picture on the wall, which we're at the time we thought maybe it was a temp because it's literally a picture they took in the Spider-Man game.
But it's not.
But they still kept it up. So there's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on a wall. It's like one of the. I think I watched New Rockstar. No, the Heavy Spoiler Show I watched because I wanted to know who the villain was, and I won't talk about any of the plot points that were rumored.
Oh.
He's like, maybe it's some kind of weird pocket universe. Like, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they're a little bit of X-Menning it with like no real continuity and just like, hey, oh yeah, and of course they have the MCU. Adrian Toomes is somehow in this universe.
And exactly. Like
so
no one knows like, exactly what's going on right now. Yeah. Anyways, man, Spider-Man 2, we're gonna be chit-chatting about it long enough as is, man. You wanna go ahead and get into it?
Yeah. I want to start. So obviously this was Sam Raimi's second Spider-Man film. Written by Alvin Sargent, which is why it's one of my favorite superhero movies, is because it's one of the first superhero movies I saw that is almost more talky than actiony, especially compared to the first one. And it's one of my top 5 favorite superhero movies because it's paced more like a Logan or something, because like Alvin Sargent, who wrote it, has never read a Spider-Man comic in his life. But obviously there was Sam Raimi input. Like, they say Spider-Man No More multiple times, and that was the original title, was Spider-Man No More, but Sony was like, just call it 2.
Yeah, because Sony's fucking stupid.
I was wondering when in the process they changed the name, because he says it and then like the newspaper says it, and like it gets repeated over and over and over again. So I wonder if they changed the name.
I don't know.
They already shot it.
So Sony's dumb Amy Pascal admitted to Sony being stupid and giving you guys crap. She said they were giving you guys stuff that didn't even make sense. And I just love that she had to admit that her and Avi's at least their last 3 outings were subpar. To take it for what you guys want. Those are her words. I mean, they're mine too from long time ago. We just learned in that book that she knew they were giving you guys garbage. So
is that the giant Marvel book?
Yeah.
Oh, the one where she's like, they talk about Sony.
Feige told me that our movie wasn't gonna be successful, and he was right.
I don't know about 3 either, but he's a producer on the first 2 as well as the original X-Men, but he wasn't Kevin Feige, the guy who answers all the questions.
Well, he just didn't have the power, didn't have the clout yet. He was powering up Goku style for that MCU spirit bomb. No, I know I give Sony a lot of crap, man, but Jesus, when you start peeling back layers like the 2.1 cuts and whatnot, it's just like, did they ever make a good choice? Like, honestly, like the best choice they made was when she finally fucking broke down and was like, okay, Marvel, you're right, fix it for us. Well, I will take Kevin at his word that for her it was always stories, even though apparently she's a shitty storyteller, or at least can pick shitty stories. But Tony Fox and Tony Vincicara, or whatever their names are, Fox and Vincicara, those 2 ass clowns can go fuck themselves. We have the Marvel playbook. We could do it too. No, you guys can't. So yeah.
As you guys know, Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man film, and in my top 5 because it's it's very adult. I mean, it's still Raimi-esque and for kids, but like, just there's so many scenes of dialogue, and rewatching it after a few years, it's actually really interesting. I caught more emotion and more of the, the overall thing of the movie is these are this kind of stages. Peter's life is shit, but he's saving the world. He decides not to be Spider-Man because he's losing his powers. Then his life is fantastic, but immediately you see scene after scene of him feeling guilty, which leads to leads to the fire, just like that mirrors the first movie, and like Aunt May's conversation with him, and he gets guiltier and guiltier, tries to become Spider-Man again, fails, but then when something big happens, he gets his powers back when Mary Jane is kidnapped, and then we're back to classic. So that's an really interesting arc. I really noticed all the scenes that were about guilt. Like,
yeah, I mean, my notes, single page here
I have
because
6 pages in here, but I won't even.
Jesus, we're not talking 6 pages.
No, I'm not talking any of them.
Messing with you. You know, look. I'll say this. It held up better than one.
I was going to ask you this. Yeah.
It still is middle of the pack. I mean, if I include Spider-Verse, it's far from Homecoming, Spider-Verse, and then this.
It's pretty good because the first 3 you listed are fantastic. I prefer this one, but the MCU ones are definitely more fun.
Yeah. I wrote down legit my big 4 points. Held up better than Spider-Man. I got more than 4 points, but these are the big ones at the bottom. Held up better than Spider-Man 1. Toby is cringe when he's fucking sad or trying to be romantic, and it doesn't come off in the geeky outcast way it did in 2005 or whatever. But it comes off so cringy, and I hate the long drawn out silences between him and MJ. That really does bug me.
That worked well for me this time.
Oh,
I actually think that, like, when they're both staring at each other.
Oh, dude, because neither one of them are. This will sound fucked up, but neither one of them is really that attractive. They're just not. And looking at 2 grown-ass adults trying to play 18, 19-year-olds and trying to act like awkward teens, and it just I couldn't stand it. But the CGI movement, the CGI it's what it is for the time, but it's that movement, and I can remember
like
critics.
The Raimi-esque.
Well,
right?
not
like
just
the camera zooms, the way he moves.
No. The CGI doesn't move real, like the weight, like those things that people were talking smack about in when the movie first came out, how, you know, Parker doesn't, or Spidey doesn't look like he has weight, you know, things don't look like they're in the movie. They look imposed, and that really does stand out on the Blu-ray, and makes me wonder if it's one of those movies where it's almost like Lord of the Rings, where you watch the Blu-ray, anytime Gollum's on screen, it looks like crap now.
Especially 4K. Like, if you watch something in 4K that has CGI effects.
Mm-hmm. But if you go...
Like, the first time I saw an HD TV at all, they had the original Hulk on it. No, they had the Incredible Hulk on it in a Best Buy. And I was like, oh, it looks so ugly. Like, it doesn't even move. Like, I guess they had motion blurring on, I'm sure.
Right, and that's part of it. So I'm not knocking. It was just one of those things that I can remember critics saying, and me being like, nah, man, it's all right. I think if you played this on DVD, like you do a Star Wars OT or Lord of the Rings, actually to me looks better on DVD than for 4K
it's not
or Blu-ray.
So focused. You're catching
exactly
all the little.
And then the last thing I said, I love the arms, of course, and the Evil Dead scene in the OR, which he uses all sorts of things from the Evil Dead movies, from the angry raping tree. Yes, that's the name of it. Get Ben if that offends you, but from the tree, it's the arms, to the Deadeye in the cellar popping up, to the dragging people and the nails, to of course the fucking saw. Right. And then
I watched an essay on that scene, and they go by frame by frame, or like they cut the sound cuts out when they throw the guy through the window or whatever, and it's basically the soundtrack is then the woman screaming, and then there's all the metallic noises. It's a pretty gruesome scene too for even PG-13. I mean, that one guy gets electrocuted hardcore, and just all the stuff with chainsaws.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the first time you see there's trouble, the doctor's ready to do the surgery. He hears movement. He looks over, and then he's like, "Anyone take shop class?" Even like his buzzsaw is so close to his face, it's uncomfortable. And then he sees the reflection in the other guys, because they use horror techniques. They have shadows where you can see people being thrown around, and shadows of like the claws going across.
Yeah.
Did you know that was the test scene for Doc Ock?
Yes. I'd heard that. I didn't know if that was absolutely true, but I remember hearing about that. And then the only last thing I said was the soundtrack sucks, and I'm not talking the score. I'm talking the soundtrack.
That was look, that year Vindicated was the song of the summer for me.
It's a product of its times, just like Hero in the first movie, just like Avengers.
Hero
if you think
to
about,
save us.
Yeah, if you think about it, Avengers even had a theme song. It had a like written, full band. I don't remember the band that played it, but it was in the trailer and shit. Like that era's gone. Thank God. I didn't know how awful it was until these days, the last few years. But man,
the score is amazing. It's not just Danny Elfman. Actually, some of the best stuff was rewritten by Christopher Young, and Elfman was fired off the film, and Christopher Young did all the music for 3.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the score is fine. It's as good as the previous, but the soundtrack, yeah, and that's it. And then I've got a bunch of things as we go over if I see one that you've brought up. But I guess just the big thing is like I said, there's still things about it that are a product of its time that don't hold up, but it definitely is a much better film than Spider-Man 1, and definitely this viewing cements it above Spider-Man 1 permanently. I'm still waiting to see if you and I have some sort of weird brain aneurysm due to the MCU and 3 ends up being the best. I'm telling you, man, don't underestimate Topher Grace.
Well, okay, so do you want to know some of the scenes I noticed that were added in?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Some of them are just extended scenes. Like the elevator scene is much longer, where he's going down the elevator with the guy.
And I'm glad they cut that. Although I think they could have maybe rearranged some of the like jokes, if you will. It's all physical humor, but no, I think the cut they went with is fine. And sure, you could switch it around play with order a bit, but ending, with it rides up in the crotch is just great, and keeping that short, especially when they have so many other long scenes. Yeah, I'm good.
One of the scenes that's a completely new addition is Mary Jane dress shop or at the shopping with her friend, and her friend, like, I think that's kind of an important conversation. I mean, it's not a scene you need, but it's kind of important where she's like, you should be able, when I ask you if you love him, you should be able to say, like, automatically be like, yeah, like there's nothing else in my life. And
it helps.
That's the first time we see her hesitate.
Right. It helps give a little bit more, because without it, I guess you could, when you look at the original, you can look at it being like she's so wishy-washy and you don't really understand why. So this kind of gives it a little bit more context of her. I do have feelings for one guy, but I also am pragmatic. So
yeah, let's see what else. I agree with you on that. So that's like, then the action scene is longer.
The train.
The whole, you can tell which scenes are new because it's not as good CGI as because they're spending it on a Blu-ray. They're not spending it, or a DVD at the time. They're not spending it on a big, it's not a Zack Snyder budget, but they let them finish some special effects. I think they added him getting hit by a train and by hitting all the signs next to the thing. And I'm trying to remember if there's
kind of like
else.
A weird bouncy thing where again the weight and stuff. But like you said, it wasn't originally planned and fully funded. So
but then the scene I was talking about earlier that everyone does wish was back in the film is J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man suit. That is an entirely new scene that's on the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray of 2.
Oh, him in this suit?
I love that scene. Just cigar in his mouth, between like even making the noise loud, and they're just watching him and they're like, what the fuck?
Yep. Yeah, that I had seen that years ago. Like I said, when I
it's a
watched
popular
it,
scene online.
I was just like, I've seen all, because when you mentioned it, yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago.
Yeah.
I remember asking you like 2.1, what is that? But I'd seen all.
It's basically
all of
a Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, as you saw, Amazon calls it an extended cut. That's what you.
That's
I mean, these things have been
is.
around forever. Like the unrated cut, the extended cut, the director's cut. It's just one of those.
Yep.
Nothing new. They just give it a weird title. 2.1.
Because Sony's stupid. Trust me. Sony really wanted to call it Venom 2. I guarantee you it was probably Hardy that said no. If Sony could have had their way, it just would have been Venom 2.
Still a bad title.
Fuck you, Sony.
Should have been Maximum Carnage. It does that story. It does that story.
They're going to bring them back. I'm going to bring them back and do it with all three of them. Do call it
Maximum Carnage. But and then one thing we haven't talked about yet, that's the highlight of the film, is Alfred Molina.
Oh,
he is my favorite villain is still Green Goblin, but Alfred Molina is probably my second favorite, and he's more well-rounded and less over the top. You know, because he's playing it like, I mean, Green Goblin should be over the top, and he's playing Doc Ock as I read Doc Ock in the comic. He's not like maniacally laughing at anything. He talks to himself just like with the tentacles, just like Norman talks to himself in the mirror. And that's something that happens a lot. Even in Amazing Spider-Man, the lizard talks to himself, and actually that was around it was definitely around the same time as Two Towers, and that had because I was watching movie after movie where characters were talking to themselves. Like Golem, Norman Osborn, Doc Ock. Like it was the era of villains talking to themselves to explain motivation.
I mean, it is one of the best villain performances in a comic movie still, even though he's in a mid-tier comic book movie to me. You know, if I was doing all comic book movies, I don't even know if this is top 10. Gun to my head, God is watching. Spider-Man 2 might be top 15. There's a whole bunch of other movies, including like Batman Returns, that I would put over this.
Well, the 15's pretty good out of all superheroes.
Yeah. No joke. But
because there are a lot of them. If we're looking past Marvel, there's DC, like you said, there's Sony, there's Fox. Everyone's kind of doing their own shit for a long time.
Exactly. But when it comes to the villains, this is still a great performance. He gets Otto down pretty well, at least the version of Octavius most of us came to know via the comics from mostly the 90s and 2000s, and of course several of the cartoons. His performance obviously informs the Spider-Man PS4 game style Ock, and it's great. He was a great actor back in indies, a great actor today. He's the one part originally when they were like, oh, we're gonna have the villains back, when we were learning that, and I was like, okay, sure, but then everyone got their god awful wishes, it seems, to get everyone else in it, but it is still a top tier villain performance.
Did you see the Green Goblin costume that leaked?
Yeah.
What did you think? I love it. It's a good way to update it and get rid of the helmet. And it's not the same. I feel like they're all going to be slightly different variations based on his costume.
Yeah.
Not just because they were killed, but like he has some purple on it, and there's some battle scars on it.
Yeah,
it almost looks like Mandalorian armor or something.
Yeah, well, no, it's the jumpsuit, but it's got other shit in and
like it's been patched up many times,
cut off, and yeah. I mean, they had no choice but to include it, but it's just another sign of how awful people were to comic book costumes in those days.
Hey, I think. Remember, Spider-Man's one of the first ones to get it right. Like everyone was going trench coats and stuff, and then Spider-Man's colorful, Green Goblin's colorful mask is god awful. Doc Ock looks perfect.
Don't get me wrong. They for effort for the time. Like I said, it's a product of its time. I can't knock it for that, because like you said they at least embrace. We didn't just get some weird black leather Spider-Man noir, but it's not.
Have you seen some of the early designs for the first one? Some of them were black and red. And then Raimi's like, no, I want the blue and red.
Yep.
And I still like that. So it's still my favorite Spider-Man suit, except for the eyes, because I love the raised webbing. It's so much fun to draw too.
Hated it back then, hate it to today. I was so thankful they had gotten rid of it, and I'm not a big fan of the textured black and gold suit.
And I still think the worst one we've ever seen will come up in Amazing Spider-Man, where it looks like his head's a fucking basketball. According to rumors, that's the suit they might use in No Way Home. And the only reason I would do that as them is to be like, look, the suit in the second Amazing Spider-Man is almost so accurate it looks too much like the MCU suit, I think. So that's why they bring back the god-awful suit from potential leaks.
Maybe. I mean, it makes sense to like you said, make it stand out more as Andrew Garfield, but it's a god-awful suit. The worst. They did a really good job. The only positive thing to say about Amazing Spider-Man 2 for now is that suit looked really good in that one. And before we take the break, I still don't know why they're afraid to just let him have a fucking normal comic book accurate goddamn spider on his chest. Never. We've yet to get a traditional spider on the chest. We got a pretty decent red one on the back and Homecoming. So
even in this one, the spider on the back's pretty decent.
It's okay.
Just like you said, it has the texture.
Yeah, but it's like Fox, Sony, stop being scaredy pants. Anyways, I'll go ahead and segue us over to our wonderful sponsors over at Grow Generation, guys.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. For all of your cultivation needs, Grow Generation has the right products, service and staff to make your grow successful. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
And thank you guys for sponsoring the episode as usual. Man, what do you think about the chemistry between them, MJ and Parker? Because you said you liked it more, but like I said, it's just so awkward looking and feeling. Like, why did it work more for you this time?
I mean, I don't know. A lot of these scenes I haven't seen recently, and I can get a lot of motion out of the face that I didn't used to pay as much. I think they're pretty, like the cafe scene, which was the original teaser trailer, where it just opens, doesn't say what movie it is, and you see them talking to each other. You're like, oh, and then the car goes through the window, and you're like, this movie's gonna be fucking rad. I don't know. I just got a lot more out of the scenes that didn't have as much dialogue, and like, he's obviously lying when he says he doesn't love her, and you can see it, and like you can see her unhappiness, like as she's slowly doing stuff with them and realizing that she doesn't love the other guy, and she thinks he's Spider-Man. It was the best kiss of her life.
And that is a scene that is good to be longer, but it's like the scene in the driveway,
the repeating of the last movie.
I like, and not just repeating it, but dude, it's so long that it gets to the point that by the diner, the cafe, you're like, will the car come through the goddamn window? It was weird because I watched it and I'm like, man, I'm enjoying all these parts, but every time they're on screen together, I want to go somewhere. Like, dude, screw her and get with the landlord's daughter, At least then you can get the house for free,
Here are a few of my favorite lines from this movie that like have stuck with me forever. Everyone obviously loves Rent.
Yeah,
in fact, there was a meme that showed all three Spider-Man together, obviously photoshopped, and he's like behind a tree, and he's like 3 times the rent.
It's a terrible
the power
meme.
of the sun in the palm of my hand. I love that line. And precious tritium. Like,
you know what's funny about tritium? It is not that fucking rare. Naturally,
I didn't even know if it was real.
It is.
Sound like a Marvel made up name, like vibranium.
It's used in it's a radioactive byproduct is how we get most of it in nuclear
Which is why it was needed for
reactors. It does occur naturally in small amounts. So that wasn't the 25 pounds is bullshit, but it being rare naturally is true. But like in our optics for the military, one of them, the ACOG, it uses tritium, which takes light and feeds it through almost like a fiber optic cable to the reticles inside the optic. So even in a low light situation, you'll be able to see the reticle inside. It works so well, actually, that when I was down in Iraq, Afghanistan, I would take medical tape and a fucking Sharpie and black it out, because if I looked down it during the daytime, it was too freaking bright, and then at night I could just rip that tape off and be good to go. But yeah, precious tritium is
tritium.
Not that it is radioactive though. So
yeah, and I mean, there's just like, between the action scenes, there's just a lot of good. Like I was saying, this is more. It feels like more of an adult comic book movie than most, just like Logan, because it's written by a guy who knows how to write good scripts
and not as boring.
Doesn't even read comics
or pointless as Logan. I'm shitting on everyone's favorites today. I'm sorry. My home life sucks right now, ladies and gentlemen. Not gonna lie, and Sony and Fox is taking the brunt of it because, well, God, just wait until Ghostbusters hits. Ugh. Anyways, I hope my son loves it. I hope that's where I'll get some joy out of it, because it doesn't look
more
like Ghostbusters.
I feel like.
Dude, why are grown-ups, grown men and women right now like, yeah, kid Ghostbusters? Like, did you? I didn't want to watch kid Ghostbusters when I was a kid. I sure as hell, as a grown ass adult, don't want to watch a bunch of kids bust ghosts. So yeah, sorry guys.
Sony tangent.
The other thing I wanted to ask, or not ask, mention Bruce Campbell. Of course, we mentioned Evil Dead earlier, was eventually going to get the part of Mysterio. It seemed in Spider-Man.
It was always
4.
rumored.
We know that there was a Mysterio scene in Spider-Man 4 planned. We saw some artwork for it. Whether or not Campbell actually ended up with the role, however, I'll say this: Sony would not have done Mysterio any justice. It would have just been a cameo bit part. Thank God for John Watts, fucking Holland, and Feige and Gyllenhaal for giving us the absolute and only best, because I'm completely biased to the character, just like you are for Green Goblin, the best Spider-Man villain ever.
I have my personal favorite is Venom, but they haven't done Venom right yet. Still. But no, here's an interesting alternate reality. So he says "my back" twice in the movie when he falls. You know why? He almost couldn't do the movie because of back pain. And so
I remember that.
Jake Gyllenhaal, who played his brother in Brothers, was going to replace him.
I remember.
So he decided to come back. So would that have changed the timeline? Someone else would have probably played Mysterio. Because you can't cast this, especially though they haven't been planning this. No Way Home before. Far From Home. But would you cast a Spider-Man actor as a Spider-Man villain in a later franchise? Probably not. Maybe in that reality, Tobey Maguire played
that would be interesting.
Mysterio.
That'd be funny. I like Bruce Campbell. It's a shame. I'm hoping he has a cameo.
He has to have out of makeup, a killer cameo
out of makeup in Doctor Strange, because I could see them putting him in there as a monster, as a voice. No, I want to see just full blown Bruce Campbell. Fuck it, it's a goddamn multiverse. Give us Ash. Screw it. Or maybe Evil Dead on TV or something.
I hope.
Doc Strange, fighting some shit. God damn. Deadeye. And then here comes
I got
Ash.
you, brother. Yeah, hopefully it's a bigger cameo than Darkman, which is probably the Raimi movie I've seen with his smallest role.
Yeah, that's
He
such a
just
good.
walks away at the end.
Yeah,
Darkman's fun and weird and
yeah.
But yeah, like the Raimi-isms on this, I was really excited. I really noticed them more than when I rewatched Spider-Man because, of course, he had more freedom in this, and a bigger budget and stuff. And I'm really excited to see some of, like, normally it's kind of against film rules to use zoom. You move the camera instead rather than like zooming in on someone. Like literally he uses the zoom feature of the camera where he's not moving the camera. It's just suddenly close up. I can't wait to see his style applied to the Doctor Strange and the multiverse in general, because he has that style. He has them horror chops. I assume Danny Elfman's doing Doctor Strange. Has that been confirmed?
I don't know. I don't necessarily want
Actually,
them to
they
get
might
rid
use
of
the guy from
Garna,
the first one.
Ghana, whatever the fuck his name is.
He did do the first one. And
I was almost going to say, I almost combined a chef's name, Garnish Shelley, I think is her name or some shit like that. I don't remember. You know what I'm talking about? That guy from Doctor Strange. He's great.
When Michael Giacchino, whatever we're talking about, was hired for Batman, I was like, he's the first director since Elfman to do Batman, Spider-Man, and there's a third one. I don't know. No, he did the first Hulk. He didn't do the later Hulk. But like, yeah, those are like his two big, I feel like, superhero soundtracks that are classic. And then Michael Giacchino's got to do the same thing. He gets to do a Batman movie and he's done 2 Spider-Man movies. Yeah.
There's one composer I would like to see get their hands on. I wouldn't mind a Marvel movie, but honestly, the one I want to see them do the most is a Star Wars movie, and that's Bear McCreary did the soundtrack for Battlestar Galactica, and that romance time travel thing in it's like in Ireland or Scotland.
Time Traveler's Wife?
No, what is it called? She goes through some fucking stones and is like back in colonial times, and then somehow she can come back to her present, which is like World War I or some shit. I don't remember. It's a show, but he did that soundtrack. My wife watches that show. He's just really good, and I think especially off of Battlestar, he could do a cool soundtrack. Other thing I had to knock the unsanitary needle for Doc Ock. Like, those needles are exposed to the open air. There's no sterile room, and then they go right into his spine. You didn't even need the AI to infect him, man. He just put bacteria straight into
the shit out of it before he put it on. Plus, this was
before
COVID. No one's worried about stuff.
He put it on, he goes back, wraps around, and you can see the needles are just standing there. They've been exposed. Someone could have sneezed all over that. Now he's got fucking streptococcus right in the spinal cord. He was gonna die anyways.
I missed when I watched it for the first time as like a high schooler. I missed the chip plot point, and I'm like, why are the arms talking to him? I'm like, why are they controlling him? I'm like, it works. It's Spider-Man universe, but I love the inhibitor. It's a classic Raimi shot.
Yeah,
it's talking about the inhibitor chip, and it's like zoom right into it. Like, and another really Raimi moment was the montage. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Like, he does some really weird like cut stuff where he even has like 3 of Peter Parker walking on the screen at a time. And he has the freeze frame. Ends with a freeze frame.
Yeah. Some of those don't necessarily work for the movie setting, but like you said, Raimi-isms. And then
Raimi.
Everyone knows about the Doc Strange name drop.
Is that in this one? I forgot. I didn't notice. I thought it was this one. Yeah. Doc Strange. It's already taken.
And towards the beginning of the film, Peter mentions seeing MJ's billboard on Bleecker. So.
Oh shit.
Which is a real street in New York, of course, but it's like.
But famous in the comics.
So. Yeah.
Well,
another on the nose.
Did you know that they almost had a cameo in the first movie? They were going to have Hugh Jackman walk in the background in his Wolverine outfit. But I don't think it was even a legal thing. I just think they didn't have the costume ready or something.
I think what some people might be talking about is, and I don't think it was Tobey Maguire. Maybe it was. Maybe it was one of the stuntmen. But I think it was actually a Spider-Man went onto the set of Fox in costume and just as a joke, playing around. Your story, I don't know. I haven't heard that they actually wanted to do that, but I do know that people told the story of I believe it was, I don't think it was Maguire. I think it was one of the stunt guys just ran over there.
Yeah, you don't need to have that.
Yeah, to laugh and joke around because the filming locations were close. I might be wrong. Correct us in the comments.
I might be wrong too. Like it's a story I've heard.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that one. Anyways, man, what else you got? I think that's pretty much all the main points.
I think Carrie Oz. I think James Franco gives a much better performance in this than in the. The obsession.
Yeah.
It's an easy role to play, being obsessed and like getting angrier and angrier with Peter every time. Like starting with the birthday party, is like taking pictures of the bug or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's better than 3's performance from what I can remember. And
3 is so wacky. I'm gonna have fun watching how wacky that movie is.
And in 1, he's kind of nerfed in it, but in a way they kind of sideline him on purpose to show him being sidelined by his dad. So yeah, this is probably the best Harry movie.
Yeah. Harry Osborn, my cat, is most pleased. Norman Osborn, my cat, is dead.
So yeah, man, like I said, it's middle of the pack for Spider-Man based on just my personal preferences and whatnot. But I have this awful feeling about how much trouble we're going to get into covering the amazing films, because just if these are having issues holding up, and at one time I liked them, I can't imagine rewatching something.
I didn't even like
hated
Spider-Man films.
Hated. Wouldn't even watch the second one in its entirety because the first one was that fucking awful. And then most of the second one was that fucking awful too. So.
I will also say this about Spider-Man 2. So my favorite action scene in any Spider-Man movie is still the Green Goblin kicking the shit out of Peter in the end of the first one because it's so brutal. I think this movie has the best collection of Spider-Man action scenes of any movie. Where you go from the train to
really good suit
finale.
Time.
Yeah, like they really Raimi choreographed them well.
Yeah.
And there's just, I don't know, they're very strong. Every action scene seems very strong because I want to call the train sequence my favorite action scene. I'm like, I can't because I already called the Goblin one is much better. And I like damage to the suit. Like movies never did damage to the suit before this movie. Before the first movie.
Yeah, true.
Even Batman, he like rips off his mask at one point. That's not like his suit ever gets damaged.
Yeah. Although it was lame that they built the cut piece on his lower chest. That's actually fabric. That's not his skin, and it's so obvious.
Well, I noticed when he was holding onto the train and his arm started doing it, I'm like, that's obviously a CGI added rip, but that's not enough.
Yeah. But I can understand that those suits might be hard to make with a rip in it that won't continue to rip. So you got to strategically place those. Yeah, man, I guess we should wrap it up. My half sack's starting to hurt anyways. Yes, ladies and gentlemen that might not know, I only have one down there thanks to a god awful painful condition, and it hurts right now. So I call it my half sack.
We should start a new podcast about that.
The half sack with Kyle Malone. There needs to be more disfigured, dismembered, disabled, stuttering vet representation. Damn it! There's only one of us on the planet, and there needs to be one of us in every project.
Okay, here's our new show. In fact, we can change the name of this show. It'll be Doll and Half Sack.
on Patreon, because that's definitely an NSFW podcast idea right there. Nick, I'll tell everyone to check out the great websites lrmonline.com and genreverse.com. Genreverse.com goes to lrmonline.com for right now, but we are working on our landing pages. Our site admin has been busy. We got some new server space. You guys should be noticing the site moving a lot more fluidly and all that. We broke 4,800 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys very much. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you're not subscribed, maybe hit that subscribe button. Help us out. We love doing this stuff for free for you guys, so the ad revenue, so the company could buy some nice equipment for some others would be awesome. Yeah, anyways. Ad revenue, guys, just subscribe and watch the ads now. Our podcast channel, the Genreverse Podcast Network, lots of great shows. The Daily Cup of Genre has been off most this week because my wife and son are ill, and then but we've also got our Anime-versal reviews. We'll be doing Hellsing this week, the 2001 edition. We've got the Cantina. Of course, this show, there's Nick's Breaking Geek He'll talk about, and that's also all free wherever you guys get your podcasts from. So yeah, do all that. Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast. I won't be able to participate in the final conversation because we're doing Eternals, and I work tomorrow night, so I can't see it in time. But I'll be doing the rest of the show with them, and we will be back next week with our Eternals conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Little worried because of the reviews and the length combined. If it was poorly reviewed and it was short, like Let There Be Carnage, I wouldn't be as worried.
Brian brought up this one point. He goes, remember, usually we love things that the critics hate.
It's just Marvel. It's like, really? It's getting worse reviews than Thor the Dark World and the Incredible Hulk.
But hey, I said out loud, I was like, I don't think these big names are going to work, guys. This isn't Marvel. And I don't know. We'll find out this weekend.
We'll know by next week.
Yeah, guys. I guess until then, Nick.
Excelsior.
No. Enough said. Got through it.
Zam.
What?
It says that in the first movie.
Go Web.